Hi all, this is going to be my review for One Piece chapter 1044. As you can tell, this is my first ever review for a One Piece chapter, or any manga chapter whatsoever. I've been a long time One Piece fan since I was wee youngin', and I figured given the circumstances and the hype, I figured it was the perfect time. Frankly, I have a lot of free time, yeah, in these hotel rooms. But yeah, very hype. A lot of these, a lot of these One Piece YouTubers acting like cokeheads, reacting to this chapter. But it's understandable. Probably the most important chapter yet in 25 years. So it's perfectly understandable that everyone's little cagey. But I don't know if that's a good word. Anyways, moving on. My name's Dallas. You can call me some guy, just like some guy in a straw hat. I do want to come up with a better pseudonym. However, all the good ones are taken by the other One Piece YouTubers, so I'll have to really scrape the bottom of the barrel. If you guys have any suggestions, please let me know. Anyways, on to the chapter review. Um, so at the beginning of the chapter, what I found interesting was the fact that it showed Sanji reacting to Luffy waking up, or his heart beating again. And the reason I find that interesting is because at the beginning or last chapter, all the people who are reacting to Luffy's light going out, his heart not beating, his voice going away, that was Kid, Law, Hyogoro, Marco, hell, even Momonosuke. In this chapter, of course, it showed them reacting to him coming back to life. However, like I said, Sanji wasn't reacting to this last chapter. He just now woke up from his fight with Queen at the beginning of this chapter. So, how would he have the context to understand the importance of, oh shit, Luffy's heart is beating? You get what I'm saying? Um, I think it could have something to do with the fact that Luffy's voice, or whatever convoluted term you want to use, is different now. And I think we see that with Kaido later in the chapter. I'll get there. The next thing we see is Mary Joie, and we see the Gorosei talking about the Gomu Gomu no Mi. They have it in their heads that he's dead, that their plan succeeded, which is kind of interesting since they have so much information about the fruit, though maybe they don't have all the context. Um, so, first of all, I found it really interesting that they've been trying to get the Gomu no Mi for all these years, for 800 years. But what I find more interesting is the fact that when this random person who just so happened to eat this all important fruit becomes a notorious pirate with a D in his name, who time and time again opposes the world government, Enies Lobby, Impel Down, Marineford, and takes place in this Paramount Moor just randomly. Why would they not A, capitalize on that situation, and B, use that, see that as an indicator of his importance and the potential for him to be reincarnated as Joy Boy? Maybe reincarnation is not the right word there, but you get my point. Um, Now, what I also found interesting, all these years, oh, if he got Paramecia fruit, oh, he's just made out of rubber. They gave him a plain power, just to make his to better accentuate his combat capabilities and his will. And then we find out that he is a mythical Zoan fruit. Now, what's funny is about a decade ago, everybody in the One Piece community, me included, would say with a certainty that the Logia fruits were the most powerful fruits. However, now we're starting to see all these mythical Zoans and starting to realize that the mythical Zoans are probably the top tier fruits. And the reason for that is when you get a Logia fruit, it's one specific sort of power. You control fire, you control ice, you are fire and ice, or you are sand. And there are, there are different things that you can do with that power. However, it is still relatively one dimensional to that fruit. However, these mythical Zoans, as some people have pointed out, they have a whole there's a just a whole cabinet of abilities that come with these fruits of varying kinds. I find that interesting, and I see why Zoans, or specifically mythical Zoans, are held in so much such high regard now. Um, I am interested to see when the Straw Hats get the context as to the true nature of Luffy's fruit, how Chopper might react. That might be a little funny scene. But anyways, jumping back to that, or jumping back to the chapter, we finally see Kaido reacting to a presence showing up on the roof. Now, what I found was interesting, and I kind of teased this earlier. He says, "Who is that up there?" Or I'm paraphrasing, but you get the point. So he doesn't know it's Luffy, and this goes back to the thing I was saying with Sanji. Sanji's known him a while, so he's more familiar with his voice, but something was different to Sanji. So maybe Sanji felt it too. Anyways, Kaido had no clue that that was Luffy. And you actually see on his face, you see fear. Like, I don't know if anybody else realized it. Kaido's never seemed that concerned ever since he was introduced. He's always been very stoic. But now, when he felt what he felt on the roof, he literally he started sweating. He felt he felt fear for once in a long time. I thought that was interesting. Now, another thing I thought was interesting is it showed the black lightning raining down and all of Kaido's subordinates, and I think there were some gifters in there too, so it's really developing. I thought it was interesting that Luffy's Conqueror's Haki was suddenly so strong after his awakening, because his awakening just has to do with his skills with his devil fruit. That has nothing to do with his capacity with Haki. So I'm kind of curious as to the reason why his devil fruit awakening is increasing the capabilities of his Conqueror's Haki. I thought that was interesting too. Now, after this, we we have a quick detour to Hiyori and Orochi and Kazunbo, or Kanjuro, same damn thing at this point. And a lot of the One Piece, reactors and people in the community were disappointed with this because they wanted the entree and they didn't want this side salad or whatever it was. Uh, However, I didn't feel that way because contextually speaking, these things are happening at just the right moments. In my opinion, liberating Wano, there were two heads, and this is ironic given the circumstances. There was Kaido and there was Orochi, and obviously Orochi was a matter to be handled by the Kazuki family, specifically Hioria or Hiyori. And at first, I didn't. It kind of seemed off to me that Hiyori was gonna be the one to deal with Orochi. But then in hindsight, I realized, oh shit, she was basically with him for all these years and had to pretend that she didn't hate him. That makes perfect sense. And I like how it turned out. Now, one thing I've noticed about Orochi that's interesting is my dude has no idea what tact means. Tact being understanding the circumstances around you, being situationally aware, uh, changing your tone or your the way that you approach people based on what you're picking on from the circumstances around you. He had no tact here. Uh, he's begging her, and he's obviously, he's saying, all these things that are contradictory to the things he said before when she was by his side all those years. Trying to say he respected Odin and all this stuff. Bullshit. And then, as soon as as soon as Cosmo gets down there, he changes. He completely flips the script, and he's like, he's like, burn her alive, and it isn't till the reversal that he starts begging her again. Now, a lot of people were confused about Kazumbo attacking Orochi. Like, that's just out of that's out of nowhere. If you, I don't know the chapter number, but if you read back to when Orochi first gave Kanjuro that order, he didn't say burn them all alive, but me. He said burn us all. Little fuck up there on his part. Anyways, another thing I thought was just pitiful but hilarious about that instance, the fact that he was saying revenge is so outdated, and it's just like, well, that's sure as hell convenient for you. And once again, hypocrisy, contradictory statements, very very indicative of Orochi's character. I loved when Hiyori had that little Lannisters always pay their debts moment, and honestly, just a lot of great emotion and a lot of great character development there. Honestly, people say that One Piece doesn't have good female characters. I think they have some of the best, most empowered female characters in, organically speaking, in all fiction. Now, back to the meat and potatoes. Um, I thought it was so funny when you see his arm just kind of reach down there, and he's literally affecting you. They mentioned earlier in the chapter that the limitations of the fruit are the user's imagination, and I love all the cartoony stuff. It reminds me of Looney Tunes, but also more specifically, it reminds me of a character from Super Smash Brothers, Mr. Game and Watch, and I think that was some inspiration he pulled from. There's another also reminiscent of the Toon World cards in Yu-Gi-Oh. So obviously, Oda has some good source material to draw from that. Um, and it was just so funny, seeing him with the Popeye arms and pulling him up and everything. And Kaido, once again, he has he's completely taken aback. Like I said, for once you see that stoic demeanor, go away, and that I feel like that's a real indicator that we're in the end game of this fight. And as weird as it is to say, I feel like Luffy, unless Kaido has some Trump card uh, at this point, unless he has something like that, I don't. I can see Luffy just kind of running over him in the next few chapters, and him submitting to Luffy. I think Blackbeard will show up and take Kaido's fruit. Uh, I can just see it. Maybe he comes after Luffy's fruit, and then as a result, he just kills Kaido because to fight Luffy, or escape from Luffy, one of the two. Anyways, going back to the chapter. When you finally see him get up on the roof and you just see the happiness in Kaido's eyes, it's really driving home the idea that this being Sun God Nika is a creature that brings joy to everybody around. And I really can't wait till Kaido comes to the conclusion that Luffy is Joy Boy. Because, like I said, after that, he might bend the knee to him or something, and then I mean Kaido's gotta die, and that's why I said Blackbeard would be a good fit for that situation. Um, but yeah, just seeing the light come back into Kaido's eyes, great character development. Um, what else? Yeah, I thought it was interesting how he automatically went for the rubber surface. Uh, all these years we've been saying his awakening would be turning things into rubber so he could bounce off and bounce things back and so on and so forth. So I I love that little middle finger from Oda basically saying, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna do what I want, but I'm also gonna do what you want." Yeah, and then just the moment reckoning of recognition between the two and respect at the end of the chapter there. I'm just so hyped for these next few chapters. Yeah. Anyways, let me know what you thought in the comments below. Any suggestions, like I said, for videos, names, what have you. Um, and yeah, this is stereotypical or cliche, but please hit the subscribe button if you enjoyed the video. Thank you.